Hey, yo, welcome into a brand new episode of the Review at Rob Show. I am your host, Review at Rob, coming to you again. We're doing this thing video, man, 2 weeks in a row. We're going to keep it going that format. Appreciate you joining in, hitting that play, and hang out with me this week as we're going to talk the film Never Let Go. I haven't seen a whole lot of reviews on that movie out there, so I wanted to go ahead and do that here on this show, as well as talk about some other things, including news on this week's show, man. So appreciate you joining in. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free review. As always, again, the film will be Never Let Go. There's your poster for it right there while I read some details. It is rated R, runs in at 1 hour, 41 minutes, and is considered a horror, mystery, thriller film. That is the trifecta of awesome as far as I'm concerned. Basically with this movie, again, no spoilers, and I didn't really write down synopsis for the movie or anything like that. Just the idea of it is taking place in a time where it's kind of like apocalyptic kind of time where there's a mother and her two twin sons living in a house in the woods. So trope for a horror movie right there: cabin in the woods, house abandoned in the woods, all that kind of stuff. So where you're following along in this movie, and what you're going to be following along with in the movie, is that dynamic and how things are going to go. How are they surviving? How will they be able to survive, and all that stuff. The interesting aspect into this movie, because I mentioned the trope before with cabins in the woods and all that stuff. We've seen those movies. The interesting thing with this movie is the house has this protection on it, to where if they're in the house, they're fine, right, from what's out there. And what they do when they're leaving the house to look for, things to eat, to hunt, supplies, and all that stuff, they tie a rope to themselves while they're walking out there, and the rope is attached to that house, right? So that's the basic idea of the movie, where you go from and all that. And I did a little double feature in theaters this weekend. I went to the movie theater, saw two movies. This was one of them. The other one was Speak No Evil. I will review that later in a separate episode on this Thrill Me Podcast Network. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on, because I want to give each movie their own deal. And I did double things, but again, I went with this one first because is the one I watched first. And like I said, I don't feel like I've seen too many reviews for this one. I've heard a lot of people talking about Speak No Evil. I feel like this movie's kind of came out and just went away without people really talking about it. It's been in theaters for quite some time. And I went to see it because I had enough interest to see it in theaters, right? There's some other things that are out that I probably could have checked out, but I had enough interest in this movie. It's an interesting enough idea. Halle Berry stars in it. She's one of the best actresses of all time, right? She's very talented. So I like the idea, I like the concept. And again, I'm a horror guy. So if you got horror movies, we're getting close to October. So I get to do the 31 days of, Halloween, and do all those, see how many movies I can watch in 31 days. And, over the weekend, I just did a whole Shudder night. Last night, I did a whole Shudder night. I watched a bunch of Shudder movies. All came out this year. So I'm like, my 2024 list is just growing. But overall with this movie, man, like I said, it's an interesting idea, and I think it worked very well. Actually, kept me very interested. Again, it was 1 hour and 44 minutes, right? 41 minutes, and I think what they pulled off in the movie, it works. It's like this very interesting idea, and trying to figure out what's happening here. With this, we've seen a lot of apocalypse things, and again, we've seen a lot of cabin in the woods things. So it's trying to figure out how everything would work out, and if everything is actually happening the way it seems. Is Halle Berry's character really seeing these things? Is there really this evil that is out there that she's been told about as a kid and has grown in life and had to deal with it? Is there really this evil that's out there, or is she all hallucinating it because they're barely trying to survive, they don't have too much food to eat and all that stuff? Is she hallucinating? Is she getting delirious and all that stuff? So that's the question of it, and you start wondering that as well, which adds to that mystery thriller aspect of it, which I think works very well as you're watching the movie, because when you're watching along, you're like, is this something that's an imagination in her mind, or is this really something that's happening out here? What's going on? So I like what they did there. It works very well. It's very, very compelling there. The scares are good, solid. It's got some thriller aspect to it. So the scares are good in it. Some jump scares and all that stuff, but for the most part, pretty good things happening there. And it gets emotional at one point. There's like these kids. I don't know who these kids are, and I don't overly judge kid actors, because why would you? That's just ridiculous. But they're killing it in this movie. Those two kids. the twins in the movie, and they're just doing a great job with what I was seeing from their performance. There's a couple emotional scenes in this movie for sure. Like there are a couple of scenes in this movie that get emotional. You're like, holy freaking crap, they're going there. And that was a big deal, and it worked out very well there as well. So overall, honestly, very solid movie. Like I'm glad I saw it. I would have checked it out eventually, but I'm glad I saw it in theaters. I liked the way it worked out. And another thing I can tell you about this movie of why it ends up working to be a pretty solid movie is because it had pretty much a what would be a terrible movie experience going in there. I saw it on a Friday night, which I know better, but I figured kids are back in school now, so it shouldn't be a problem. But saw it on Friday night, and there's a couple of teen girls that sat up top. Couple seats away from me. They were pretty much talking the whole time during the movie. They did get quiet during some scenes where it got more intense in the movie and got, to those emotional aspects and all that stuff. They did quiet down, so I give them credit there. But 2 rows in front of me, there were a couple more teens who were talking the whole freaking movie, and they were taking pictures of their food while the movie was playing. So flashes of their camera going off. Like I don't know what's happening. I don't know why people are so stupid now going to movie theaters, and I don't want to be old guy shouts at teen, but it's ridiculous. I understand why people don't like going to movies sometimes. It's like we're paying this money to go watch a movie, and we have to deal with these, disrespectful a-holes over here who can't freaking stay off of their phone and be quiet and watch a movie. Like, why even come to the theater if you're going to be doing that? Also, if you're reacting to the movie, perfectly fine and cool. Like, there's no reason or anything like that to be upset with that. If they react to the movie, cool. But if you're talking just during the whole movie about personal stupid stuff, that's the thing. But the good thing with this is the movie was able to keep me locked in and attracted to what was happening on the screen as much as possible and pulled in and watching into it. So overall movie to me, very solid, very good movie. It's going to be around probably the middle of the pack for me as far as the movies I've seen, like 50 movies, seen over 50 movies this year. So middle of the pack is not necessarily bad. Some of the movies I watched last night are right at the bottom of that list, but this movie is very solid, very well done. I thought the acting was good. I thought the story of it was good. I think the scares are good, and just the questioning of what is happening in this movie, in the sense of, is this real? Is this not real? Is it a figment of their imagination? Is that thing really there? What's happening? So overall, for me, man, Never Let Go was a pretty dang solid put together film from start to finish for me. So that's my thoughts. If you saw the film, let me know in the comments what you were thinking about it, because again, I enjoyed that movie. All right, so going from there, let's jump into some horror news. Seems only right, due to the time of the year, and just talked about a horror film. The biggest news that has happened in horror since the last time we talked is very upsetting news for one. Truly, as you can see behind me there, I got Chucky back there. Chucky's my horror icon. I love Chucky to death, and sadly, and we probably could have seen this writing on the wall with how long it's been taking, but sadly, the Chucky TV series has officially been canceled. Um, which it's baffling to me, not just as a Chucky fan. It's just the fact that show has continuously gotten rave reviews and continuously loved by people. I don't know how that show gets canceled. Um, I guess USA and Sci-Fi is doing the Netflix thing where even if it's super popular, we're going to cancel it after a couple seasons unless Stranger Things, because there's no real reason that show would have been canceled. Again, it was getting rave reviews across the board. So why they canceled it, I don't know. There is a report going around that they're trying to focus more on doing stupid ass reality TV programs, which is unbelievably ridiculously stupid and shows lack of creativity doing some dumb shows like that. But that's where we're at now. So it sucks. That show was great. Did very well, not just with them, but for fans like myself, it did very well. Good news is Don's already talked about it. I've talked about it on the show before with news, and even when this news has come out, Don said Chucky will be back. We already know that a movie's been in the works. Hopefully, the movie will involve, some of the stuff that's been going on with the show, especially that cliffhanger ending we had in season 3. What I will say is Chucky has done a great job keeping the timeline very connected and keeping things very sorted. It's like it's recognized as one of the best franchises to keep things all together. So overall, it sucks that that show was canceled. Should never been canceled, but it happened. So we're just gonna have to wait. We know Chucky will be back. Chucky will always come back. You don't get rid of horror icons; they always come back. And Chucky's not in a situation like other horror icons that are going through tons of lawsuits and just issues. That Chucky franchise is being very well taken care of by Don Mancini, who knows what he's doing with that. With that property. So we'll have to wait a little bit before we get some more Chucky stuff, but there is a movie that's already in the works, been in the works already, and this will fast track it, of course, now knowing that they don't have to worry about the show. So that sucked. Other news and horror real quick before we jump over to DC. is that Courtney Cox was doing an interview, and as far as we have known, and it was even reported before. And this is why I tell y'all not to believe reports. It was reported before that Courtney Cox was part of Scream 7. Courtney Cox herself has come out and gave the quote of, "I'm not officially signed on. I'm not, but there will be a Scream 7." So all we know about Scream 7 is the people who've been doing the movies recently that a lot of people hate unless it's that Thanksgiving movie. Then they love that, but they're upset about Scream. And that's social media for you. But it's gonna happen with Nev Campbell. It's gonna go back to Sydney's story. Fine, whatever. Kind of tired of that story, but fine. If that's where the route they want to go, whatever. We'll end up all seeing the movie anyways. But hey, Courtney Cox, we thought was part of it. Now she's apparently not part of it. She probably still is going to be a part of it. They're probably hashing out money stuff, which they've had issues with in the past with Nev Campbell, but they officially brought her a bunch of money. Courtney Cox probably wanting a bunch of money herself. But yeah, to see she's not officially signed on, interesting. Because we already thought she would be signed on at some point. She also mentioned how the character of Dewey should still be around. I don't necessarily, I mean, there you go. It's that Scream franchise is going through some problems, but they're going to keep making movies because people keep going to see them. So as long as people are going to continue to see those movies and support what they're putting out, they're going to keep making them. There again, like I said, there's a lot of bah about it right now, but again, you can't trust social media on feelings because they love that Thanksgiving movie, which I still haven't seen, for the reason of who made it. But it's one of those things where it's like, are we or are we not going to be upset about this? Are we not going to let certain things bother you, but at the same time be like, no, we're okay with you know being stupid about things. That's kind of the way I guess all that stuff goes. I have no idea. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Spyglass, or you're not happy with Spyglass? I guess that's your choice, and you can just be flip floppy that way. I don't know. But nonetheless, that's that. Let's go. That's that. Scream 7. I'm sure I'll be reporting later that Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox will be reuniting for that movie at some point in time. All right, going into DC news. The only thing confirmed here that I can go ahead and tell you about is Lady Gaga has released. I know it's Gaga, but I like saying Gaga. Lady Gaga has released an album called Harley Quinn, and it's a companion album to the Joker film that is releasing this week. So excited about that. A highly anticipated film, Joker. But that's really cool. I'm glad to see that she did that. We do know that there will be musical aspects in the Joker film. And for that reason, I have not listened to this album yet because I want to hear him first time in film. That's the kind of person I am. But what we're going to do, I'm going to be rocking that album. I'm sure. I love Lady Gaga, easily one of my favorite singers. I am excited to see her play Harley and see how all of that ends up working out, and all that. And that'll be next week's review. I did mention I'm going to do Speak No Evil review. That's going to be coming out later this week. It won't be next week's episode because that will be obviously Joker. But be on the lookout. I will have Speak No Evil out with its own review at some point. Any news around that time. But overall, I'm excited about what Lady Gaga can do. I've seen what she can do musically, and I've seen what she's created with her music videos and all that stuff. I've seen her acting, and she's been good there as well. So can't wait to see how she does with Quinn. I think it's going to be very interesting to say the least. Anytime I see that trailer in theaters, I'm like, yes, I'm excited for that movie, man. I'm very excited for that movie. All right, now the rest of this stuff I'm going to talk about DC wise here before we get out of here. It's been reported, has not been confirmed whatsoever by James Gunn. And James Gunn does a very good job of confirming these things when they come out because people will ask him about it on his social media account, especially on threads. They will ask him about these things, and he will normally give you an answer about whether or not it is happening. So the reports that are coming out now are that we've had a couple castings and there's a couple villain movies on the way. Jumping into the casting, there's a report that DC Studios has cast Kyle Chandler, who you may know from the Friday Night Lights show. It's probably the most known thing for him. He's also been in those more recent Godzilla movies. Emmy winner, is apparently in negotiations for the Lanterns TV show that'll be going over there on HBO, kind of like the Penguin. Of course, that's Elseworlds. This will be DC. Um, they're both DC. You know what I'm saying. Um, and it's rumored that he would be playing Hal Jordan. Not confirmed whatsoever. Nobody knows. It has not been confirmed. And again, it's not been confirmed by James Gunn. So take that with a grain of salt with your information there. Other casting news is I'm going to mess up this name. Terrible with names. I think it's Matthias Schoenertz. And I looked up his filmography. Didn't really recognize anything that I've seen. I remember saying I know I saw that movie The Loft a long time ago when it came out. But other than that, nothing else is ringing a bell. But he is apparently in final negotiations to join Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That's the DCU movie starring Millie Alcock, who you may know from the House of the Dragon spinoff prequel show to Game of Thrones. Um, Not known who he would be playing, but is rumored to be playing the villain from the comic. So we'll see. Again, not confirmed whatsoever. And then the last thing here is that there's a report that DC Studios has brought in Matthew Orton, who did the Captain America Brave New World film coming out, that they brought him in to write a feature film that will involve the Batman villains, Bane, and Deathstroke. That's from Variety. And then that goes with the other rumor that's come out that Mr. Freeze will have his own movie with Matt Reeves attached. So, again, it's all rumors and reports. You can take them however you want. Again, just mentioned with the Courtney Cox thing where that was a report. And Courtney Cox herself has come out and said she is not part of the movie. So take all these reports with a grain of salt. And again, James Gunn always confirms these things. James Gunn has not confirmed any of these whatsoever. He's even said that he hasn't heard about the Mr. Freeze movie, and that he's gone on to say, and I'm quoting him here, there are a lot of rumors out there this week. Some of them are true. Some of them are partially true. And some aren't true at all. So take it that what you will and where you will go with all of it. Mr. Freeze has been heavily rumored to be a villain for the Batman thing that's going on over there. So we shall see where that all ends up going. But as far as the rest of it and casting all this stuff, I have no idea. And I have no confirmation for you whatsoever about any of those things. They're all just reports and rumors that are coming out that you can, again, choose to believe if you want to believe. But 9 times out of 10, they are wrong. So if James Gunn hasn't confirmed it, I would not put all your eggs in that basket of it being true or not. But you can speculate how they will do as performers or not in those films. Nonetheless, I'm still very highly excited about all the stuff that's coming from DC in the future, including gonna watch the episode Penguin. Recording this now, a new episode should be up on HBO Max very soon, if not already. So excited about that. Real quick, did watch the episode 3 of Agatha. Still a great show. Still absolutely great, compelling show. Love what they're doing over there. It's fun. This episode, again, no spoilers, but this episode deals with the trial, one of the trials that they have to go through. And it's freaking utterly amazing and awesome and fantastic to watch and all that. So, that show's going good, man. Like that's one of those shows where I can't remember the last time a Marvel, not just a Marvel show, a show in general, where I'm watching this every week when they release a new episode, like maybe a day late, but I'm watching it every week when they're releasing these things and just having a ball with it, man. So very excited about that. Penguin, probably talk about my thoughts on the next episode of Penguin on that Speak No Evil review episode I'll have coming for you. But that's going to do it for this week's episode, man. Appreciate you joining in. Still getting a little comfortable with the video aspect here, but I think I did all right. But that's my thoughts. Gave you my thoughts on the movie Never Let Go. Solid film, man. Solid film. Glad I saw that movie. Definitely, I honestly want to see it again. I can wait till it comes home, but I do want to see that movie again. So they got that one out there. Let me know if you've seen that movie, what your thoughts are on it. What are you thinking about the Chucky series being canceled? Don't be too upset. We got more Chucky stuff coming. Don't worry. And then Courtney Cox apparently not in Scream, and then the DC rumors going on out there. And have you listened to that Harley Quinn album yet? Do you enjoy it? Nonetheless, Joker Folie à Deux, also known as Joker 2, is hitting theaters this week. Very excited about that. Can't wait to see that movie. Can't wait to talk about that movie. And that's going to do it for this week's episode, man. So appreciate you all joining in and hanging out with me. Hope you had a good time. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share to get us out there. And have a good time as always. And remember that you are amazing. You are capable, incredible, incredible things. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself, chase that dream, man, because you can accomplish it because you are amazing. And as always, remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers, turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.